Have you ever found yourself facing a familiar problem again and thought, haven't I already been through this? I'm Chris Moore, and this is Lead in 10, where we look at how Jesus led and what that means for us as leaders today. In Mark chapter 8, the people are hungry again. This time it's a crowd of 4,000, and just like before, the disciples seem unsure of what to do. This isn't the first time they've seen Jesus feed a massive crowd. Just 2 chapters earlier in Mark chapter 6, he fed 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Now here they are again. It's Groundhog Day. Same setup, but a new opportunity. Jesus says, I have compassion on the multitude. And he asks how many loaves they have, and they say 7. He tells everyone to sit down. He gives thanks. He breaks the bread, and he passes it out. And just like before, everyone eats, and there's plenty left over. Mark chapter 8, verse 6. And he commanded the people to sit down on the ground, and he took the 7 loaves and gave thanks and brake and gave to his disciples to set before them. Sometimes leadership means learning the same lesson again and again and again. Jesus wasn't just feeding people. What he was doing was forming his disciples. He was showing them that God's provision isn't just a one-time miracle, that it's a pattern. It's consistent. He wanted them to see it, learn it, and trust in it. As leaders, we often move too fast. We check the box and we move on. But some lessons need to be repeated so they can be rooted. I can tell you from experience in multiple businesses that you need to talk a lot about your vision. You need to talk about where you're going and how you get there and what it's going to be like once you arrive. Because people, it doesn't sink in. They don't capture it. Imagine a business leader who runs into a cash flow issue and they panic. They scramble, but God comes through and the crisis passes. A year later, another cash flow problem, and they panic again as if they've never seen God provide. Sound familiar? Yeah, we forget. Our teams forget. That's why wise leaders don't just solve problems. They reflect on them. They teach from them. And they recognize those patterns. Jesus didn't shame the disciples for not remembering what happened just a short time ago. He gave them another opportunity to see God's faithfulness in action. That's grace. And that's leadership. Sometimes we think growth only looks like progress, but often growth looks like repetition. God brings us back to familiar territory, not to frustrate us, but to fortify us. What would change if we looked at repeated challenges as repeated opportunities to deepen our trust? What's something you've gone through more than once in your leadership journey? A repeated challenge, tension, or obstacle. Instead of asking, why is this happening again? Ask, God, what am I supposed to remember here? Maybe make a list of situations where God has come through for you, where your team overcame the odds, where provision showed up when you had no idea how it was going to happen. Share that list with your team. Make it a story of faith and turn that into a leadership culture. Teach your team how to look for patterns of provision, not just for problems. Revisit one reoccurring issue that you're facing. I think we all have them. We just have to recognize them and ask God to help you see that pattern. Write down the similarities. Write down how much of it is the same, maybe from our own actions or inactions. Reflect on how he's shown up in the past, and then take one step. And don't take it in panic, but take it in faith. When that perspective changes, we change. Come at things not from panic. Come at them from faith and see how your world, your business, and your life changes. If today's devotional helped you see repetition, even in the problems, differently, share it with someone else. And remember, God doesn't just perform miracles. He teaches patterns. Thanks for joining me on Lead in 10. Until next time, slow down and pay attention and lead with the lessons that you've already been given. I'll see you next time.